Welcome to Ask Me Anything about Logos, Bible study, sermon prep, and the Bible. Now, something we're doing this year is we are going to give the replay. So when this webinar is over, I'm literally going to just export the recording, raw, unedited, except for maybe the front and back part here. And that'll be available for stream only, no download, and it'll be available for 5 days. All right. This is recognizing that some of you just can't make it. And so take advantage of that. Hopefully, you'll love the webinar so much that you'll want to purchase it. So what we're going to do for those who realize, you know what, I really want this webinar, you can go to LearnLogos.com/now. Now, this is a special that's good for the next 12 hours because once I release that replay, then the price goes back to $7.99. So you can actually order this right now if you wanted to. You'll get the link emailed to you tomorrow with the raw, unedited training, and you'll be watching this and you'll own it and you can download it and replay it as often as you want. So this is something new we're going to start doing. Hopefully you'll appreciate that. And again, we're even though I'm a for-profit company, we really keep our prices low. This is a break-even ministry. Trust me when I say that. That's why I have a full-time job on the side. But I love you guys and I want to serve you, and this is the way I can do it. All right, and so let's get started. And what I've done is every question I've put on a slide, and then we'll open up Logos and do it. That way you can kind of keep track of what's going on. And when you have the video, you can search to the very question you want. All right, here's the first one. And again, the questions are a combination of very basic to intermediate to quite advanced. So we're going to cover a little bit of everything tonight: original language, word studies, all the above. So here's the first one. I create an image highlight, but the image appears too small. Scale is set to 100, and I'm viewing on the desktop. So let's talk about this. All right, so here's Logos, and the highlighting tool is accessible by clicking on Tools and just typing the word Hi, and you'll see under the Content menu, Highlighting. Let's click on that. Now, adding your own images is a powerful way to customize Logos. Here I have theological highlights, and by the way, you can download these if you go to Documents, you go to Public, wait for it to refresh, and if you wait for both windows to refresh, and if you type in LearnLogos.com, you'll see all the free tools that I have, including this highlighting palette. And if you click on the first one, press Control-A for PC or Command-A for Mac, all of them will be selected, and then just hit Add to your docs. Now, you may need to do that like 2 or 3 times because sometimes Logos doesn't download everything. Not sure why. Once that's done, you'll see the theological highlights. Now I'm going to click on yours to close that window, click on the X to close, and click on the Documents tool icon to close the menu. So here it is. And this is a good reason why you want to have your own images, because you can really customize things the best way you can and to what you prefer. So let's go on. Let's look at what happened here. Why does it appear small? So I'm going to open up my Bible. And I'm just going to select, let's type in the word so we can actually get on there. So here we go. This was to fulfill the word of Isaiah. Clearly, this is a reference to the Bible. So we'll select the text. We'll then click on the icon, and you can see it's added. All right. Now, first things first, if you want the image to be bigger, then you have to enlarge the text. This is one strategy. So notice as I'm clicking Control plus or Command plus, the image and the text is getting bigger. So the reason I'm showing you this is that the image is limited to the size of the words. So very, very important. In fact, whether you put in a 300 by 300 JPEG or 100 by 100, it's just going to fill up that spot. Now, let me go and show you where the image is and how you upload images. So I'm going to float my mouse over this icon. We're going to click on the drop-down menu. We're going to choose Edit, and we're going to go to Image. And here's where it is. Now, I'm going to click on this. Now, notice that when I click on it, you don't see the little browse menu. And the reason you don't is because my screen size is too large. So I'm going to shrink my screen size down just for a minute here. And we'll once again go back to the highlighting toolbar. We'll click on it. Now you can see Choose a File. So I'm going to click on Choose a File. And I'm going to navigate. Let's see. I'm just going to... Yeah, here's an image. All right. Now, this is a 1920 by 1080 image. It's huge. Way too big. It can be a PNG or a JPEG. Doesn't matter. You can download any kind of image from the internet. Now you can see here that it's only picking up a little bit. But if we go ahead and if we were to apply this, you can see right there at the top, let me see, yeah, you can see that it's really not taking up that much more space. All right. So bottom line here is that it's looking for a square-like image or even a kind of vertical rectangle, and it really resizes automatically. I would guard against very wide images like this and try to make it more square or vertical rectangle. But Logos resize it, so you don't have to be too concerned about your original image. But though too wide can cause a problem. The second thing is you mentioned the 100%. This 100% only changes the opacity. That is the transparency of the image. So if I go to 10%, you can see it's much softer, more clear. So this 100% doesn't control the size at all. The only other things that can affect size is placement, right? So if we go to the left margin with an image, all right, or better yet, let me go above. We can do that. Before center. Yeah, let's go center. And you can see there. And then we can do above. You may get some size differences there. But for the most part, you really don't have any control over the size, other than watching out for that width and making sure you're more tall than you are wide. And that's it. You can just download images to your computer, and you are good. Okay, so that answers the first question. Let me just go ahead and click Close All. And I'll be watching the chat box, so if you have a follow-up question, that's the place where you want to put it. All right, let's return to PowerPoint. Let's go to the next question. Do I lose anything by purchasing a legacy library? For example, a resource that's in legacy library and is available in the store. Is there any difference? Great question. So first things first, all books are the same no matter what collection they're in. When you buy a legacy or any other collection, you're going to get the same book. It doesn't matter. However, and I think this is where you're leading, sometimes you'll see price differences where, for example, a book in legacy might be less than the actual book itself. What's going on there? What's happening there is dynamic pricing. And when you buy a book by itself, you're always going to pay the maximum price. But sometimes a book is part of a collection like legacy. And if you own a majority of those books, well, that price is going to be less. And that's why whenever you shop at Logos, always check the links at the bottom to see if it's in other collections. Let me demonstrate. So I'm going to go to Logos real quick here. And we'll just pick the Treasury of Scripture Knowledge. That's a real popular book. I've seen this over the years differ in price. So New Treasury of Scripture. Okay. There it is in the drop-down menu. We'll click on it. And in a moment, Logos brings it up. There it is, the New Treasury. Now I'm going to sign out so we can actually see. Well, actually, this might be okay. So there's the price at the right, $49.99. But if we scroll down, yeah, this is down here. This title is included in the following collections. Unfortunately, it's not in any others. So that's not going to work here. But let me just sign out just in case it does show up in other collections. Yeah, that's probably not the best example anymore. But that's what you want to do. And if your book is in another collection and it's cheaper, get it with the cheaper collection, plus you'll get more books. Are there tags that get added to a newer version? So when you get the same book, but it's a newer version, Logos does change some of the tagging in the book. So great question. Let me show you for an example. Let's take Grasping God's Words. Okay. There's several editions for that. All right. Now I'm going to open up both of these, and that way you can see them side by side. Now, I went into each of these books. Let's go to the top there. And let's say, so here we have, now notice in my text, I have 2005 and 2012, 7-year difference. If you click the three dots and choose information, and click the three dots and choose information, you'll see that up here, all right, you can click this pencil icon, and that's what I did. I went in and put 2012. That's how I visually know it's the same book, but different years. And Logos sometimes puts that version information or edition information. Like here, you can see in the copyright 2005. Here it says 2012. Now, the follow-up question is, if you have a book, do they get updated version automatically? No. Almost all the books, when they get new versions, Logos will release the new published book. And if you want that new version, you'll have to pay for a separate book. So that's a real unfortunate thing in the library, but it's the way it is. Okay, so the nice advantage of that is you then can keep the older version, and sometimes the differences are significant. All right, great question. So that should answer that. Let's return back to the PowerPoint, and let's go to the next question. When in the Bible, if I hover over a word, a status line appears at the bottom of the view that gets me updated with the Greek word, the attributes, etc. And it says, and the question is, how do I look up that information? All right, very great, good question. Let me walk you through what's going on here. So I'm going to open up my Bible, and I'm just going to delete this word of Isaiah, and I'm going to go to Mark 1:1. All right, so if I float my mouse, let's say, over the word going, you'll see at the bottom we have the Greek word, all the morphological information, Strong's number, and Louw-Nida number. Now, to get access to that information, all you got to do is right-click, and now you got access to the right-click menu. And then using the left side of the menu, you can click on any item, and you'll notice at the right, the menu changes, and this is how you discover more information. So think of this as just a pop-up preview, but if you want to do something with that information, right-click, and then you can go and follow the Bible word studies, etc. So great beginning question. I really appreciate that. Sometimes some of the most obvious things aren't so obvious when you're brand new, so appreciate that question. All right, next question. Is it possible in Logos to highlight a portion of Scripture and have it read aloud in either the Hebrew or Greek language as appropriate? This was a really great question. So appreciate it. I'm going to open up my notes here because there is a couple links I want to give you guys in regards to this. So bear with me. And there we go. Okay, so let's go first into how do we even listen to the Bible in the first place. Okay, so I'm going to click on my library, and I'm just going to type in the NA28. That's an abbreviation for the Greek Bible. And you may type in NA27. Those are available. Now, if you look closely, in fact, let me do it this way. I'm going to drag the library icon there so it stays open. If you look closely, you're going to see these little speaker icons. Any book in Logos that has an audio file associated with it, you're going to see it. Now, in the case of Bibles, it's a little different application. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this first one. Now, when you want the Bible to be read, all right, you just go to that passage. So let's say we want to read Mark 1:1. Next thing you want to do is go over here to the stoplight menu, the three vertical dots, and click it. And you'll see that you have Read Aloud Greek Audio New Testament. Also, I have checked Show Word by Word Indicator. So I'm going to click on that. Notice the keyboard shortcut, Control-R for PC, Command-R for Mac. And right away, down at the bottom, you're going to see this little play bar. And that allows you to pause it. It allows you to rewind it. And you also notice the multiplier. So we can change the reading speed. And if you cycle through it up to 2 times, but also 0.75, that can be really handy when you're working with the original language. You want to go slower. So there you go for that. And then watch what happens on the screen at verse 1. So we're verse 2 now. You're going to see there's a little dot moving there. And that's to let you know which word is being pronounced. Very powerful. But your original question was, hey, can I select the text and read it? And the short answer is no. Great feature request. I highly recommend you let Logos know because that would be handy. Now, for the Hebrew, it's even more limited. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to put in the Hebrew Bible and put in audio. All right, there's no audio embedded in the Hebrew Bible as far as I can tell. I've gone through. In fact, let me do a different search. I'm going to put type : Bible. That means we're going to select just Bibles. And then language : Hebrew. So we just get Hebrew. And as you can see, as I scroll through, none of the major translations have any audio linked to this, which is really unfortunate. All right, so what do? Well, there is a Hebrew audio Bible. Let me go to there. And here it is, audio reading of Hebrew Old and New Testament. I'll click and open that. This is a resource in Logos. Unfortunately, it's chapter at a time. So if you can't even recognize the Hebrew lettering, this will not be helpful. All right. But there is a solution, a little workaround. I came across this site. Let me go ahead and paste it in the chat box for you guys. And then let me go to that website. And this is pretty cool. Now, here's what you do. You go back to Logos. So let's do that quickly. We're going to grab a phrase. There it is. We'll right-click, choose Selection, and choose Text Only. Then we'll go back to the text. Now, I chose Hebrew, but guess what? You can click the drop-down box, scroll up, and just locate Greek. There it is. And you can right-click and paste. And then you can say Generate. And then I'll let it generate. It'll take a minute. Now, this is free. And then when you're ready to play it, I recommend right-clicking right around the timestamp, choose Speed, and choose 0.5. You definitely want to go slow. It plays super fast. For Hebrew, well, guess what? We can go back to that link again, and I definitely recommend saving the link. I haven't played around to see how much you can do, but here's Hebrew. So we can go back to Logos. Let's go to Genesis 1:1. We can select that text. You know what? I'm in the Greek text. Might be good if I open up a Hebrew Bible. There we go, BHS. All right. That was the wrong one to open up. That's an older one, no longer supported. Let's grab here, this one. We can now go to Genesis 1:1, and we'll select the first verse. Again, you'll select the text, choose Selection, choose Text Only. Then you'll go back to the website. You'll right-click in the box, paste it, and then you do Generate. And then you'll wait for the generation. Once it appears, you're going to right-click on that timestamp. Now, this one's interesting because it didn't get it, so you might have to hit play first. Yeah, this one doesn't look like I'm getting the speed control, which is unfortunate. I thought it was there. But either case, there you go. You can always export the audio and then slow it down by the player that you have. So that's your workaround. Great question, but it is limited. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and close all that. Return to the PowerPoint. Let's go to the next question here. Do you have any suggestions how we might use Logos in a teaching situations? For instance, how to project Logos on an iPad? This is a really great question, and I'm